Good afternoon and welcome to the Rotary Club of LaGrange on Wednesday, April 26, 2023. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation to be given by
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our heads under the great King of Kings. O Lord, thank you for bringing us all together under this mighty umbrella of happiness, meekness, and peace. Lord, please let us live up to the Rotary standards and their visions and their missions, that we may be a blessing to others that really need to stay up in. We thank you for all the many blessings that you bestow upon our lives each and every day. In your mighty, mighty name, we pray. Amen.
Thank you. And Scott will come to introduce our guest.
Good Wednesday afternoon, everybody. Welcome. I want to recognize our guest today, so as I call your name, please stand and stay standing until I finish, and then we'll welcome you. First off, David Huddleston, guest of Randy Nix. David is in our state legislature. I could say he took the place of Randy, but I'm not sure he would take the place. Debbie Nix is here, wife of our Randy Nix. Norma Bird is back again, and we welcome her as a guest of Susan Ferguson. She's with Scoops. And Brad Turner is here. Brad is the husband of our speaker today, so I want to welcome all of you today. Thank you.
Thank you, and this is the last week that Norma will be a guest. Well, I guess technically a guest next week, but in the middle of the show will become a full-fledged member. So everybody welcome. Birthdays, I believe Gerald Wyatt is tomorrow. And I have a knack for messing these up, so correct me if I'm wrong. And then Henry Jacobs has a club member anniversary, 9 years this Sunday, and no wedding anniversaries. I want to remind you about the push for the Walter Y. Murphy Scholarship to get the matching funding from the Callaway Foundation. For anyone that contributes $1,500, you get a beautiful Rotary LaGrange 100-year commemorative, which includes a 1923 piece silver dollar and a 2023 silver eagle. Mike Wilson, I was going to get his today, but he's not here, so I'll hold on to that. But Henry is here and Steve are here, and they each have one. Henry got one because he went a full year by himself doing programs. And Steve was inducted on the first day of our 100th year. And when I gave it to him, we didn't have the 2023 Silver Eagles, they were 2022s. And so now I got to give them the 2023 Silver Eagles. The places are limited pops. So after I give this one to Mike, there will be only 32 more of these in existence. And so when they're gone, they're gone. Okay, district conference starts tomorrow. Trip, I have your Green Acres corn chuck shirts. So if you want to show them off, we can, or you want to keep them hidden, we can keep them hidden. But as you probably noticed, Barbara's not here today. She's still not doing very well with her recuperating from her back procedure. And she's not going to be able to make it to district conference. Kelsey's going to go in her place, but she did, of course, all the work that she normally does to get us ready for that. So I'll thank Barbara tremendously every time you see her for all that she does. Remember, the annual banquet is June 15th. No Wednesday meeting on June 14th. And as long as I'm bugging you about dates, remember July 4th. It's a big date for the club as we help out with the Sweet Land of Liberty Parade. And of course, the end of September, you're not allowed to be out of town because that is our 100-year celebration. Member announcements, you probably saw that one of our former members, Bruce Crawford, passed away, is it yesterday? I haven't heard any announcements on a service I believe it would be the Presbyterian Church. Well, yes, Deb. Okay. Well, we'll send out the particulars on that. Okay. Make sure everybody hears and sees what that is. If you don't know Bruce, he's you might know Kyle, his son, who was also a member of the club. Going from that to happy dollars. If anybody's happy and has a dollar, don't put in the silver dollars. But I want to do something else. Come on up. Maybe the only happy person has a dollar.
Has a dollar to give. First of all, I want to thank everyone that was able to come out last weekend to Agatha Christie's Mousetrap. There were tons of things going on last weekend that were amazing, that I heard all about. And we had a huge crowd, so it was a great show and great turnout, so thank you for that. And this week, we have Food for Thought Thursday and Friday night. Young Singers of West Georgia at 7 o'clock at LHS Auditorium, and we hope you can be there. Thanks.
I'm going to do 3 happy dollars, okay? Number 1 is I have my bride with us today. She didn't come. This is our 53rd year together. We dated the first time in April of 1975. We didn't get married 5 years later. 1970. 1970, there we go. We got married. See, I'm glad she's here to straighten me out. Believe me, it's 53 years. It's 53 years. But I'm glad she's here. And I put in $1 each for our speaker today and for our husband. I'll speak about them in just a minute, but I'm so glad to have them with us. It's a couple that I just really admire, and glad they're here, and look forward to hearing from Brandy in just a minute.
Happy dog for Bruce Crawford for life well lived.
Got 2 happy dollars. First of all, just to sort of honor the fact that the community has been so supportive of the first half of our Sweetland season. And we're 100 tickets away from being sold out for Jeff Foxworthy, which is a great way to start off the summer. And then to also let you know that the second half of the season will be announced very soon. So we look forward to this being the biggest year we've ever had at Sweetland. And there we go. Thank you so much.
Which reminds me, I have to go online and look for 38 special tickets. Hopefully there's some still labeled. If you haven't been to a live show at the Black Box Theater, you really need to go. Every time you want to see the Agatha Christie show, it's wonderful. The crowds are there. So if you're going to get tickets, be sure and get them early when a show comes up. That's it from me. I'm going to ask Randy to come on up and introduce the program.
Well, I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. And the bad news is not so bad when you consider what the good news is. The bad news is I had scheduled the Georgia Teacher of the Year for today, and this schedule was set up back in, I guess, December, January. And he called me a couple of weeks ago and said he did not realize this was the week that they had to be in Washington, the Teachers of the Year. The good news, which is so much better, is we have our Tripp County Star Teacher of the Year here, Randy Turner. And I assure you, there's no fall off in the quality of the people at all. In fact, Brandy has been my choice for Georgia Teacher of the Year for at least 10 or 12 years running. So we've got a good one here. A little bit about Brandy. She's born and raised in LaGrange. She graduated from LaGrange High School. I got to know her when she was a senior, I guess. She's the same age as my daughter-in-law. My son's a year younger, but I got to know her and got to know Brad. She's married to Brad. I love the way she writes this. She just says she's born and raised in LaGrange, graduated from LaGrange High School. The next thing is married to my high school sweetheart, Brad Turner, who is here. So she got that up front, Brad. That's really good. Brad, by the way.
Dates like you do.
There you go. Hey, just wait till it becomes in the 50s. You can remember him now. Brad is a corporal with the State Patrol, been very successful there. I kind of look at them as it's kind of a power couple in our community, and just really glad to know them. I know you're going to enjoy getting to know Brandy better as she comes and speaks. We got 3 children, Grace 15, Jimmy 12, and Judson 3. She started teaching in 2005 at Gardner-Newman, where she taught Georgia Studies for 12 years. Now, this lady knows her Georgia Studies. I let her go to the Capitol one time with me. She went to the governor's office, and I thought she was going to get us in trouble because she found a picture there that was mislabeled. And she made it known to the governor's office that that was not who they thought it was James Oglethorpe. And they disagreed with her vehemently that it was Benjamin Franklin. She said, go look it up. They went and looked it up and came back and had to apologize to her because she was absolutely right. She ended up getting another invitation to go to the governor's office because she corrected him on that. So she knows her Georgia Studies. During those 12 years, she was Marty Davis's choral assistant for 2 years before she retired, and then she was the competition cheer coach at Gardner-Newman. In 2017, she went to LaGrange High School, and up until this year, she taught U.S. History and AP U.S. History. She's now the choral director at LaGrange High School, which I think some of you went to the program and will know that. And she says where she loves to sing, loves to teach children to sing, love and appreciate music, and that she couldn't be happier in what she's doing. She just wound up their first spring concert, and it was amazing. I told Kim we may have to invite her to come back because there were a lot of things I wanted her to tell you about today. I wanted her to give you a real picture of what it's like to be a classroom teacher in today's environment. A lot of you are like me. You were in school 50, 60 years ago where the biggest worry the teacher had was who was sticking gum under the desk. Believe me, that's not where they are today. And she's going to tell you a little bit about that. Before I bring her up, there was something, I spent about 12 years on the House Education Committee. And I already had a great respect for our teachers, but probably even a greater one now. And this is a quote or a statement I'd like to make before she comes up. Research shows that teachers are the single most important classroom factor in a child's learning achievement. They have a stronger influence on achievement than any other factor. So that's how important our teachers are. And we have a great one to come and speak to us today. So Brandy, if you would come and speak to us, we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Good afternoon. I probably don't need this microphone. I recognize some faces in here of some siblings I taught, children I taught. There's Will's mom, Hannah Ruth, and Miller's dad. So I'm Randy Turner. Thank you, Randy. Thank you guys for having me. I'm going to be honest, when he called me a few weeks ago and said, would you be interested? I'm like, yes. And then he said, well, you're only going to have about 20, 25 minutes. And I thought, oh my God, am I going to be able to do this? Because I could talk the horns off a Billy Goat, especially when I'm talking about my students and what I did. Okay, so before I get started, and all of these pictures have a reason. They're there for a reason, and they're all building, okay? So before I get started, it would help if I turn this on so I could click it. Okay, this is my world right here. Outside of teaching, that is my husband, my high school sweetheart. We met at LaGrange High. I started dating when I was 15. That is my 15-year-old daughter, Grace. That is my 12-year-old 7th grader, who is bigger than I am. And then that's my little surprise right down there at the bottom. He is 3. So he's our sweet surprise, and I couldn't imagine my life without him. And they're my world. These are just 2 more pictures. We're big Georgia Bulldog fans. And like I said, there's my little surprise. That was from this past weekend. If any of you did not get to see the spring show, you need to let me know, because I have video footage, and I'm telling you, it'll make your heart, it'll warm your heart, I promise you. And I'll show you why in a minute. So here's some pictures of me. When I was in high school, big cheerleader. I'm still the cheer coach. There's me, my honey. He didn't know I was going to do this, so he's probably sitting up there going, oh my Lord. But on the outside, I look like a typical happy teenager. But what you don't know is my life was miserable. My father was in prison most of my life. My stepfather was an alcoholic who was verbally abusive to me. You know that movie Cinderella? My brother and sister were the stepsisters, and they got everything, and I was the Cinderella. And he was not a good person. And so I would often keep myself busy so that I didn't have to go home, because my home life was hell. And I'm just going to go and tell you, I'm going to be very frank, because I feel like some people need their eyes to be opened. That everybody is not going home every night to mom and dad. It's not Leave It to Beaver anymore, at all. Here's me performing. I thought I was big. I was so crazy. This was one year in the spring show. I've always loved music. That was maybe my junior, senior, sophomore. I don't know. It all kind of runs together after a while. But there again, oh, Brandy, you're a cheerleader. You make straight A's. You're in the chorus. You have a beautiful voice. I did all those things because of my teachers, and I never wanted to be at home. Okay? This is all going to fall into place. This woman right here single-handedly changed my life. You're Emily sad, aren't you? Yeah. I'm probably going to cry. Marty was mean. Let me tell you something. Marty, she had a standard, and buddy, she didn't care. If she wanted you to do something, you were going to find a way to do it. She made you want to be a better person. She plucked me out of a group of kids and said, you have a beautiful voice, and you are going to do big things. And I didn't even know that at the time. I often tell this story. Marty and Marion Towns would often take a group of kids to New York every Thanksgiving break. And I remember my senior year, Marty said, Brandon, why didn't you turn in your form? And I was embarrassed. And I said, well, Miss Davis, she was gaffing me then. I said, just can't afford it. I mean, it's just not there. Do you know what the woman did? She contacted former students, people in her friend group. She paid for me to go and experience New York City. And it changed my life. I mean, you're talking about a girl, we went to Panama City as a kid. Woo, Panama City. That's it. I had never even heard of Broadway until I met her. And much less think I'm going to go and see it and sit at the orchestra pit and go backstage and meet all these stars. She literally changed my life. And she knew she changed my life. Because when I started teaching, I was her assistant. And now I'm living my dream, and I am the choral director at LaGrange High School. But people like that, that's why I teach. Because Marty knew I didn't have what most of my classmates had. I didn't have the money for the expensive vocal training. I didn't have the money to go on all these trips and being a foreign exchange student. And she knew that, but yet she believed in me when maybe no one else did. She did. And listen, she's just one of many, okay? I could name, I mean, there's still people that I teach with, Kenny Moore, Jane Lewis. I mean, there's so many names I could drop right now. So before I tell you why I became a teacher, I want to tell you three big quotes that I live by. Students who are loved at home come to school to learn. Students who aren't, they come to school to be loved. And I want to tell you about a story. I'm not going to say her name. Her mother would disappear for 2 and 3 weeks at a time. She was strung out on drugs, and she would literally just disappear. And it was her and her 2 brothers, and I think maybe Aunt would try to take care of them. It was Christmas, or maybe it was my birthday. I don't know. Middle school, you get a lot of really good gifts. You don't really get them in high school. But I remember her giving me a letter, and I opened it. I still have it on my refrigerator to this day. And she's close to 30. And it said, "Miss Turner, I didn't have any money to get you anything, but I just want you to know how much I love you. And there are days when I wake up and I tell myself, I wish you were my mom." And my husband, he's like, "Randy, you can't adopt them all. You can't save them all." But it doesn't keep my heart from hurting. But when you see that you've had that impact on a child, that they're literally telling you, "I want you to be my mom," I mean, that's big. I mean, that's really big. So this is my first one. My next one is the kids who need the most love will ask for it in the most unloving ways. I don't know if this is a compliment or if this is what, but I can remember there was a young lady, and my principal, Ernest Ward, he'd get on that radio, he'd say, "Turner, you better get down here. You better get down here, or I'm gonna call the police on your girl." And I'd go down there and I'd get in her face and I'd say, "Come here." And me and her would go and have a conversation. She'd say, "Yes, ma'am." And people would say, "Randy, how in the world do you get her to do stuff for you? How do you, what?" And I said, "Because she knows that I love her." And if a child thinks you care about them and they know that you care about them, they're going to move mountains for you. That's why I don't write referrals, because I don't ever have discipline issues. I've been a teacher for 18 years, and I can count on 2 hands how many referrals I've had to write. And the ones I did write were mostly like if someone got in a fight, but my kids just aren't disrespectful to me because they know how much I love them. And I share with them my background. They know I grew up on Elm Street. My dad was a drug dealer. He was in prison most of my life. My stepdad was a bad person. I can relate to them. So when they say things like, "Miss Turner, you just don't know what it's like," "Oh, baby, but I do." And so a lot of times they would give me those at-risk kids, and they would give me those kids that are very hard, and they just want to be loved, y'all. Because a lot of these kids have no one at home. I mean, no one. Like, "Miss Turner, I wasn't here today because I had to stay at home and keep my little brother because there was nobody to keep him." You know, they come to school, y'all. I gotta stay on track. Okay, I'm gonna get all this. Okay, my next one is a child educated only at school is an uneducated child. We have children who, they come into our school system, they've never had a book read to them. They've never, some of y'all are like, "What?" Dead serious. I teach 9th through 12th grade. I have children that are 18 years old on a 2nd grade reading level. Okay? Children are products of their home life. And every once in a while, you'll get someone like me who breaks the cycle. Okay? Now, my mom was fabulous. She was pregnant with me when she was 17. She married my dad when she was 17. They eloped, got married, the whole shebang. I did not want that life, and I knew that from a very young age. But sometimes a kid can break the cycle. A lot of times a kid can break the cycle. With the right help, they can do it. And that's why I'm here today, because we need y'all's help. Like, we need it. So this is me. Gosh, I was so skinny. That picture right there was the first year I ever taught school. It was in 2005. And that picture, I don't even know what I was doing. I was just being a goofball. I think the school system had come to take some pictures of me. I'm just going to kind of walk you through my journey. So in 2005, I started teaching at Gardner-Newman Middle School. I taught Georgia Studies, which is basically U.S. history with emphasis in Georgia. That's why I can correct you on anything and everything about the state of Georgia. This is me. This is how I teach. I don't sit behind a desk. I'm dressed up as Nancy Hart. If you don't know Nancy Hart, she was an amazing person during the American Revolution. She's the only female to have a state named after her in the state of Georgia. And we have 159, not state, counties. We have 159 counties. She's the only one. So I try to bring my lessons to life for these kids because a lot of them have never left LaGrange, Georgia. I'm also a big time cheerleader. That's why I'm so loud. I still coach competitive cheer. I help on Friday nights for City on the sidelines. If there's a bad call and a ref does something, I'm going to be down there. Competition cheer is my baby though, and it's a lot more than what you see on the sidelines. These children warm my heart. They are just a blessing to me. Here's Randy Nix in my classroom. I would invite him a lot of times, and the kids would just be like, "Oh, that's so cool, representatives here." And I would get him to talk about, how the districts are aligned and all that good stuff. Some of the kids would be like, "Hey, can we get a selfie? I just met State Representative Nix." They thought that was so cool. And I didn't mean to do this, but that is Gage right there, who works right back there. From when he was in 8th grade, this is an ancient Indian drill. And it was a replica, and I would let my kids, I just wanted to make my kids, I wanted it to be real. I would have kids say to me, "Miss Turner, I hate history," until I had it with you. You made me love it, okay? So that's just how I am. These are some of my favorites over the years. These girls know how much I love Georgia. They brought me a Georgia birthday cake, or not a birthday cake, teacher appreciation, field day, honors day. I mean, you can tell I teach kids from all walks of life, all from here on the spectrum to all the way down here. I have them all. I'm gifted certified, AP certified. I have special exceptional ed training. I teach them all. So people go, "Oh, she's got all the good kids." Baby, no. One of the highlights of my 12 years is the Georgia Studies Tour. We would take a group of kids around the state of Georgia. We'd take them to the Capitol, Grasstown Falls, Amarillo Falls, Savannah, the Okmulgee Indian Mounds, just Andersonville Prison, Fort Benning. Just these kids would get to go and experience. This is one time we were down on the house floor. This is at Tybee Island. But I want to talk about this young man. This is Freddie. And Freddie was like me. He had great parents, but they just didn't have the money for things. There was a language barrier. Freddie spoke on behalf of his parents, and one day, myself and Miss Mandy Pike, who was the 8th grade counselor at Gardner Newman, we were just making conversation about how we wish this kid could go, and he couldn't afford it. Well, that man right there said, "I'll pay for it. Just, here's the money, I'll pay for it right now." And you're talking like $800. And he said, "I'll pay for it." That kid cried his eyes out when we pulled him in that office and told him he was going to get to go and experience that trip around the state of Georgia. And when I see him still to this day, he's never forgotten that. "Thank you. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you." I mean, just tears of joy. But if more people knew that there were children like that, great kids that just don't have it, think about how many more opportunities we could give some of these kids. I had to show these all. These are the pictures when I went and got to meet the governor, and after I corrected everybody, and I just had to put those in there because they're just so darn cute, aren't they? Okay, so let's jump ahead. 2017, I go to the high school. I'm a U.S. history teacher. This is just a young lady giving a presentation. Every year I did a Christmas tree, and they had to create a historical ornament. This was one of my favorites from last year. A young lady did a Dr. King Christmas ornament, and on the back, she had like teeny tiny letters. She had written his, probably one of the most famous histories in American history, speeches, and it's the "I Have a Dream" speech. I just wanted to show you a little bit of my student work. So here I am now. I taught history for 17 years, and now I'm the choral director. Every kid in this picture, with the exception of maybe 2 of them, have never read a piece of music. They've never sang a note. They don't know anything about music, but because they love me, guess what they did? They signed up to be in chorus this year. I mean, I got half of the LaGrange High baseball team to sign up for chorus. Now, they did have some real pretty girls asking them to be their partners, so that might have been why they did it. But football players, basketball players, band kids that just don't do anything. Y'all, I have children that you would have never in a million years thought would be chorus of man. Okay? I'm trying to go fast. But I just love them. Like this one girl, Miss Turner, will you show me how to play the piano? I mean, it's unbelievable the things that you can get these kids to do if they love it. Okay? We have karaoke Fridays, and as you can see, we love karaoke. One of the big things that I wanted to do this year is I wanted to include my special grangers. If you don't know what my special grangers are, they are a group of exceptional children. They come to me every day. They sing, they dance. This is Ian. We're karaokeing together. I don't know. He loves rock and roll, so there's no telling what song that is. Here's me and Devin and Ian. They make me want to be a better person. When you're having a bad day and these kids come to you, it just changes your perspective. I can't even explain it. This was this past weekend at the show. They were actually in the spring concert. We had a special song, and all of my special Granger babies were up there on the stage. And I wouldn't trade that for $1 million. I wouldn't trade it at all. They are just such a blessing to me. And like I said, they've made me want to be a better person. They're just, gosh, they're amazing. This young man right here, this is why I teach. This young man right here, I have known him for a long time. His mother was a principal and a teacher. I taught Big Sister, and I've known him since his freshman year. But this is J. Arthur Dunn, and he calls me Mama T. J. Arthur lost his mother. He was in, I think, 6th or 7th grade after a long, hard-fought battle with cancer. And J. Arthur is single-handedly, I love him. This young man has been thrown so many obstacles, and he has overcome every one of them. He was crowned homecoming king. This is the day, and I don't know if you can tell by this, but I love this child, and he loves me. He just signed a scholarship to play football in college. He's going to college. His father has done an amazing job raising him. He's smart. He's polite. He's a good Christian boy. He's athletic. I mean, he is just, that is why I teach. That is why I teach right there. It just warms my heart to know that he's going on to do bigger things. And like I said, I teach kids from all walks of life, okay? Some that are brilliant and some that struggle, okay? This is at homecoming this year, some of my students, this is a group of kids that are in chorus, but I was just trying to showcase the other things that they do. This is probably one of my favorite pictures of my first fall concert that I gave at First Baptist Church back in November. So proud of these kids. These are some other kids. We won the region. We were like region champs for literary. These are my seniors, 42 of them. Ugh, I'm going to replace that next year. This was Saturday night. This past Saturday night, at the end of the show, I had 150 kids in that spring concert. And I could feel Marty all around me. And if you look closely right here, her picture's right there on my piano. Her and Beethoven, her daughter. So here's some other things I want to tell you. This is Zanae. She's my baby. Listen, do not mess with Miss Turner, because Zanae, if you upset me, she is like my bodyguard. She put this on Facebook last week. She said, "Happy birthday to the best school mom and girl a girl could ever ask for. She's the only person I will talk to when having a bad day, and all her students know that Big Nate will chomp them about Brandy." And she will, honey. She'll tell you about, "Oh, you're being rude to Miss Turner." I don't think so. Devin, that's another one. Happy birthday to one of my favorite teachers of all time. And your words, love you, mean it. Y'all, these kids mean the world to me. I mean, y'all just don't know how blessed. People go, "Well, how do you do it? How do you deal with all that?" And I'm like, that's the thing people don't realize. You hear all the negative, you don't ever hear any of the good. You don't. These are just over the years. This particular young lady tagged me, "A school teacher you will never forget, Brandy Lee." What's my time looking like?
You got maybe 5 more minutes.
Okay, we'll go fast. That young lady right there, Red Milton, When I tell you she loves me, that's the one the principal would say, you better come get her. I won't. My husband pulled her over one time to tell her headlight was out. And she was being so rude and nasty to him. And she said, what's that say? Turner? You Miss Turner husband? He said, yes, I am. And she said, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I love Miss Turner. Did she not, Brad? And she still to this day, she comes to every football game. She comes down there and sees me. Because of me and how much she loved me, she instantly just said, whoop. I'm telling y'all, if a kid knows that a teacher loves them, they're gonna move mountains. I mean, think about it. Think about the teachers that you have that you didn't like. Did you really enjoy learning from them? I mean, I didn't. That's all they want to be, y'all, is loved. All right, I'm going fast. So this is me and Mincha. She chose me to be her star teacher. She said I changed her life, and that just right there, there's not enough money in the world that could change that. All right, so let's talk about some of the problems that are going on in this community that some of you may not realize that are impacting our students real quick. I have children that live in motels. I have children that have been sexually abused. They reported it to me. They're neglected. A lot of bullying, a lot of cyberbullying. Y'all, them cell phones, the Bible says that money is the root of all evil. I'm changing it to add the money and social media. From the time I started teaching to now, you would not believe the amount of my students that are on antidepressants. They've tried to kill themselves. They've been institutionalized. It's because of this social media. I'm telling you, it's the devil. Violence in and outside the home. I had a young man say, Miss Turner, I've been dealing drugs since I was 10 years old. Come again? Yeah, my grandma made me do it. I didn't know anything was wrong with it, but if I got caught, I didn't go to jail. But if grandma got caught, she went to jail. That's a true story, y'all. 3rd year I taught school. Kid told me that. That's what our kids are dealing with. Don't forget that. I promise you, it's real. Sex and pregnancy. Every year I have a student that's pregnant. Suicide and mental illness. Every year. Every year I have a kid try to kill himself. And that's sad. Drugs. Y'all, these vapes. We got terracotta pipes at LaGrange High School, and do you know how many times we've had to pump those terracotta pipes over the last month because the kids flushing their vapes down the toilet? These vapes and then the stuff they put in them, y'all, it's bad. Dropping out. They don't see any hope. They don't have anybody pulling for them. You know, there are some children that come to school so they can eat. That's at the high school level too. When people say, oh, school's canceled, my heart drops to the floor because I know that I have babies that are not going to eat. And when I say babies, I mean my high schoolers, but they're still my babies. I keep food and snacks in my classroom because I have children that come in there and say, Ms. Turner, I'm so hungry. Do you have anything to eat? These are the realities these children are facing, okay? So this right here is something that a lot of people are like, man, Ms. Turner, you so knock loose. I don't care. I have a cell phone chart, and you have a number. And if your phone is not put up, you get marked absent because you're going to learn something in my classroom. That was the cell phone prison when I taught at Gardner-Newman, and that's what the system I have now because I have classes way better. I don't play about those stupid cell phones. I can't stand them. Oh, I can't stand them. All right, so here's where I need y'all's help. Help make people aware. A lot of people live in their bubble, or they're naive and they don't want to believe it, but it's here. I was just riding down the road the other day, I saw 2 homeless people with signs, and I'm like, man, we've got a homeless problem here in LaGrange. A lot of people don't know that, but we do. It's bad. I would love a mentoring program. Like Randy Nix could be a mentor of some young at-risk student, you know, or any of you can do that. Between community members and students, because a lot of times, y'all, these students want to be better, and they want to do better, and they want to break the cycle. They just don't have the means, and they give up. Tutoring, that's a big thing that the community can help. Y'all, we have nothing for these kids to do. Can somebody please build a bowling alley, an arcade? Man, you can make so much money. I'm so tired of going to Newman to go bowling. We need stuff for these kids to do. They get off the bus, and guess what they're doing? They're running the streets. They need stuff to do. And I don't mean hang out at Granger parking lot, and I don't mean go to the movies. I mean, they need stuff to get them engaged and something that will make them realize their self-worth. Somebody build a bowling alley, okay? I mean that somebody could really make a killing on a bowling alley, especially for my family alone. I mean, really. Empathy, teach empathy. Some people are like, well, that's just the way it is. No, you need to learn that some people were not as blessed as you, and you need to be empathetic to people's situations. And a kid is probably cussing you out, or a kid's probably acting the way they did because they probably didn't get to go to sleep last night, or they're hungry, or they don't know where their mama is because she's been gone for 2 or 3 weeks because she's so strung out on drugs, nobody can find her. Break the cycle. I did. And it's because of people like Marty Davis that I broke the cycle. She believed in me. College isn't for everyone. Listen, I have 2 degrees. I have friends that have a high school graduation and they make double, some of them triple what I make. My friends that work for the railroad, they make 3 times my salary. And I have 2 degrees. College isn't for everyone. We got to have something for these kids to do to be productive citizens of this community. And we're doing a lot better. I mean, the schools are working really good with a lot of the Kia suppliers and other industrial park businesses with getting these kids hooked up with jobs right out of school. But there's just so much more we need from the community. And help meet the needs of these families and create a culture of trust. A lot of people don't trust people and they think, this is a scam or someone's out to get them. I don't have all the answers. I just know that I love what I do and I love my kids. And I'm gonna end with this. My sister refuses to go in public with me. And this is why. Sissy, she calls me Sissy because we're 14 years apart. She said, I can't stand going anywhere with you because I feel like I'm with a Kardashian. Miss Turner! Miss Turner! Oh, Miss Turner! And I'm like, you know what, though? When I hear that, it just makes me remember why I do what I do. Because I have changed someone's life just like my teachers changed mine. And with that, I'm going to shut up and let y'all ask me questions. I just think this is my paper. Who has a question? I said a lot. Okay. Hold on. Yes, sir.
I don't have a question, but I just want to just thank you for displaying your passion and love for those that are least with you. That's what the verse I would say is that God will find favor on your life for doing that. And I think as a society, if we have more teachers like you, that school system would be a whole lot better.
Amen.
So thank you right now.
Amen. I'm a big believer in that everything happens for a reason, and I truly believe that the reason my childhood and my adolescence were so rough was so that I could be that person for someone. I truly believe that. I do. Yes, sir.
My question is for them. I just want to know, can y'all tell why I love this lady so much?
Maybe next time I'll come back and sing a song. I said a lot, I know. I didn't even. Yes, sir.
I love what you said about college is not for everyone, and there's tons of economic nerd data that says there's tons of trade jobs that are unbelievably empowering for people to study that way. Does the school system that you're a part of have vocational technical school? I'm 49. When I went to high school, we split halfway through the day, and the kids who learned a trade and were certified as undergraduates.
We do not have that, and we need that. We have Think Academy, and that helps a lot with like certain career paths, like nursing and a couple other things. And I'm like you, when we were in school, you had the college prep route and you had the vocational prep route. And I think that's something that would be very beneficial. I mean, we could be teaching these kids, and we're like at my high school, we have cosmetology. We have auto tech, we have things like that. But I mean, wouldn't that be awesome if we could put into some kind of place like where we taught these kids to be electricians or linemen or things like that, that these trades that we need, because, like I said, college isn't for everyone. Look, my oldest, she's going to be a dog. She's probably going to be valedictorian and she's going to go to Georgia, and I know that. My middle son, I don't know yet. He tries my gangster every day of my life. And he's 12 and he's bigger than me and he is smart as a whip. But his mindset is, well, I mean, I already have an A, so why do I need to continue to do this? Yay! But college isn't for everyone. And there, when I was growing up, it was embedded. If you don't go to college, you're not going to be successful. That's not the world we live in anymore. It's not. It's not the world we live in. Anyone else? Thank y'all so much for having me.
Thank you so much. I told you not to miss. And so y'all are here, so you tell everybody else. I'm not gonna go through the whole list of what's coming up. Maybe get Jeff to send out the list, but this is why you can't miss on a Wednesday. Thank you for being here, and in honor and greatest appreciation of your speaking today, we'll be making a donation in your honor to Polio Plus, which is Rotary's initiative to eradicate polio worldwide. Next week, I will mention, though, is the macroeconomic update with Cal Evans and Brooke Blackwell of the Sonogus Market Intel Department. So don't miss. Thank you all for being here. We adjourn.